Today's tutorial is going to be this simple as needle felted acorn. Now I sometimes like to use the white natural acorn caps, but it's so easy just to make your own. You can do lots of different colours. This one, I've got this gorgeous sort of numpkin gnome here, and I've added a little acorn to his hat, which looks fabulous. But you could make these into garlands, part of your autumn decor. Whatever you decide to do with them, they are going to look fabulous. And if you want to do them for Christmas, you could do white acorns, I think, which would look really nice, sort of hung on the Christmas tree. So all you need is a felting mat of any kind. I am using a 12mm soft mat here. I'll pop the links for everything down in the description. So this is a pure wool 12mm soft mat. You can use any needle on it apart from the multi-needle punch tool, where it's too thick for that to penetrate. But you can use a Hessian mat, a foam mat will do fine. I've got a 38 standard needle here. You want something quite robust. I have some lovely bright orange carded wool, but you can also use wool tops of any kind. And I've got this lovely sort of oatmeal cap that I'm going to create. Really simple, really fast. Now, your secret weapon when getting these shapes made quickly and perfectly is the wooden barbecue skewer. You don't need a full stick. You can use something smaller because we're only working on a small area. And what you need is to take a small amount of wool top or carded wool. This is a nice bright orange. I'm just going to split that. So I've kind of split that down the center, and then I've split it in half again. And there's very little felting really goes on here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to put my finger on there, and I'm going to start wrapping that wool. Now, the trick here is, if you can see there, is to keep that wool flat and tight. You don't want any air in this acorn. You want it nice and firm. It negates the need for lots of needle felting and keeps the shape nice and perfect. Now, if you keep your fingers close to it tightly so that the wool doesn't break, which it will do more easily with a carded wool than a wool top, you can just twist that stick around. There's not really a lot, if you prefer to wrap it, you can do, and I will swap between the two. But you can just twist that around, keep it really firm. You see how firm that is? No air in there. And then I'm just going to felt it very gently, just so it holds. Watch your fingers, use finger guards if you wish. You want to do it like that. But just, the trick is, don't let that slip. You don't want a sausage-shaped acorn. And then I'm coming back to it again, and I'm just felting in those ends. And the reason I'm using a 38 star needle is because it's nice and robust. If you use something finer, as you can see, if I hit this stick, that needle doesn't break. But if you use a finer needle, like a 40, then it absolutely will bend or break. And then just turn it round. And we're going in a straight line or diagonally, because we really don't need to felt that centre part because that's already held together. I mean, you can push through and just tack it in a few different places. And then I'm just going to add a little bit more. So again, you can use either technique, turn the stick, or if you find that a bit slippery. And then I'm just going to pull off the carded wool. And with the carded wool, what you'll find you're able to do is just roll that in between your hands, and it will just hold on to itself. It's what it wants to do. And then we're just going to reduce this size here, tidy up those loose ends, create a better shape. And remember, one of these ends, whichever end you decide it to be, won't even be visible because it will have the acorn cap on top. And you see how easy it is to create this shape. And this is also a technique I use when creating needle felted balls. I do sort of garlands with balls as part of the garland, and it takes about 3 minutes to needle felt a ball, and it's just the easiest thing ever. So there we go. We've got a nice shape there. I'm just going to pop that off. There we go. So we've got that kind of sort of small egg shape, and you'll have a little hole in the end where the barbecue skewer was. So just tease that over with the needle. I'll do the other end. So this is going to be the cap end, so it won't really matter. But I'm just going to felt on those sides just to tidy it up. If it's a little bit rough, you can roll it around in your hands to smooth it. But I think this is okay. But you can just give it a little roll, and there we go. So the acorn is ready, and now what we're going to do is make a really simple acorn cap. And again, I've got carded wool here. This is an oatmeal with some sort of different strands of colour, sort of delicate colour going through, so you've got some variation there. And you don't need much, just start with less than you need. Don't know if that's showing up very well on there, but hopefully you can see what I'm doing. And we're going to just, with our needle, draw a very rough circle, and then bring in those edges until you feel the resistance, which is where you drew that line. Pull a bit off there because this might get a bit big. And then just tuck those in. So there you can see we've got a very rough circle shape. Turn it over. And if you're making lots of these, then I would go on to, if you're running a business and you're making them for decorations, Christmas gifts, family, friends, autumn decorations, then I would definitely use something like a rice-filled Hessian mat, or a foam mat you could use as well with the multi-needle. Just take sort of out of the punch tool. I think I've got one here. Here we go. So that's your punch tool, and it has 7 needles, but you can use as many as you wish. So you can, as you see, it's a little bit firm for this, but if you're using a rice mat or a foam mat, then you could use that. And on a rice mat, you could use all 7 needles. So that really speeds up the process. You could also use a multi-tool on here, and I like this one. You can put 3 in here, but the distance between the needles is really good. It means you can really sort of get in without putting a lot of pressure on the wool the felt shape that you've already made. So that's a really good tool as well. So I'm just bringing in those edges and then turn it over. You see there? So it's kind of rough at the moment. And then just bring more of those edges in. So what this is doing is it's neatening up all around those edges. Now I'm just going to pop that on top of the acorn as is. I'm just going to flatten it a little bit. But if you wanted to, you could go around and, you know, get those edges really perfect. But an acorn cap isn't perfect anyway. But if you were doing that, then I would pop that in between a piece of cardboard and then felt around that way. If you've seen my previous tutorials, you may have seen me using them. Just a folded piece of cardboard, and then pop your felt in. And then that will save your fingers. But I think that's okay. And then I'm going to go over to my acorn here, and I'm going to find my side that I want, laying it on top of the acorn like so. Pop it on like a little hat, and then just felt straight through the center there so that it holds. And then we're going to work gently around all of the sides so it hugs the acorn. Note that I'm only working along the edges. I don't really want to flatten the rest of it because I want it to stand sort of proud. You see how that's sitting on there quite nicely, and how quickly and easily it is done. And then what you can also do is you can just, if you just want to tidy up those edges. Just go down like so, just to create more definition. The trick is not to flatten it. And there we go. And then I'm just going to, for a little bit of realism, add a little stalk. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to roll that in my hands. I'm going to keep that bit loose. And then I'm going to just fold over that end because I want that top part to be a little bit thicker. Keep your working hand well away from those fingers. And then roll it again. And then just flatten that top with your fingers. And then you can also go in. I'm just going to use a 40 triangular here. So this is a more this is a finer needle, should I say. So what that does is it just felts that top part. It's got these barbs here, and it will just, without distorting the rest of it, allow you just to penetrate that wool quite easily and flatten it, as you can see. And then just lay that on there. And just the process of felting that in will draw that stalk in. And I'm just going to twist it a little bit. There we go. And that is how you make a needle felted acorn. So easy, so fast. And then, as you can see on this sort of little numpkin that I've made, we've got the acorn there attached to the end of the hat, which is really, really effective. So don't go anywhere. Wait till the end, because you will find the autumn playlist will be coming up very soon as this is finished, and you can pop over there and fill your craft boots with lots of seasonal needle felting projects. So thanks for watching.